going on, everybody? Hello again, and welcome back to another episode of the Welch Report with me, Jean-Luc Welch. Make some noise, clap it up, get excited. Wherever you are, we are back with another action-packed episode for you today, covering the world of the NBA and boxing on this specific episode because we got so much to cover. As the draft, while it may not have been exciting, the offseason of the NBA as a whole has been making eyebrows raise around the basketball community as well as in the boxing realm. Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney, the drama between him, drugs, and the fight itself, what has transpired, what has become anew with new revelations. He's been banned. What does this mean? Is it good or is it bad? Is it justified or is it not? And what does it mean for Devin Haney moving forward in his campaign to get this expunged from the record books of his legacy? And will it actually ever be able to get expunged in the first place? All that and more is going to be talked about right here on this show. Keep it locked right here. We got so much to cover. And thank you for tuning in and listening. And please, before we even get started, leave a like on the video. Go ahead. Subscribe to the channel. Comment your thoughts and opinions. And share the show with everybody that you know so we can keep on building up this empire together. We are vastly growing, and it's all thanks to you and your support. And I'm putting in the work trying to make this thing grow. Yes, indeed. And if you all keep on responding in kind, we can upgrade this setup into a phenomenal plethora of greatness. Absolutely, just littered with a bunch of honestly, I don't even know what we can do with this show. I just know we can make it better and better and better, all thanks to you and your support. You're gonna see me on TV one day. Absolutely, it all starts right here. Yes, indeed. Pat McAfee, I'm coming for you. You're absolutely right. I'm getting 200 million one day. It's a dream. It's a big dream, but we can make it happen, and we can make this community bigger and better, all thanks to you and your viewership and listening. And please, we're also available on every podcasting platform you can think of, so go on, rate us 5 stars. They're on Apple, Spotify, any other platform, any other application. We are there. We post, and we got high quality content bringing to your face, to your ears, every single week, or at least we're going to try to do it every single week. Lord willing, if we can abide by the schedule that is set. But again, all that aside, we got to cover stuff in the sports world. Let's jump right into the world of, debate talk and just outright opinions. And we got to talk about boxing first. Since we're talking about boxing, it is time to step into the ring. That is right. Ring the bell. Let's get it started. Round 1 of this show underway in this boxing segment as we discuss Ryan Garcia versus Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia versus drugs and the New York State Athletic Commission in Nevada. In and of itself, we have new developments in the story of Ryan Garcia and the whole drama show that is drugs and Ostarine in his fight with Devin Haney. If you are not aware, a quick rundown of what's been going on. Ryan Garcia destroyed Devin Haney in their fight earlier this year. However, it was found that Ryan Garcia had drugs in his system, specifically Ostarine. After that investigation was done and the results came back from what I could find, Ryan Garcia had about a 6 millionth or 6 billionth of a gram of Ostarine in his system, which is a very minute amount. It was validated that it was a very minute amount by when they took a hair sample from Ryan Garcia. It was then shown that there was no drugs inside the follicles, which is the last place that any sort of substances would be stored in the body, as the last place to get nutrients, and it's one of the longest places that nutrients get stored. And if drugs was in the system, it also would have gotten stored inside the follicles. So it was deemed as, hey, this might have been accidental. Further, that was validated by when they sent in the bottle of substances or of supplements, that Ryan Garcia was taking up until the fight. It was then shown that that specific bottle was contaminated with Ostarine, which had been a problem that other drug capsules, or rather other supplements, had also been facing in the supplement community because of the vetting process of the supplement companies themselves. Not any intention on Ryan Garcia. And since that's the case, now all of that for me showed this was a indeed accidental attempt. This wasn't something that was deemed to be intentional by Ryan Garcia. So with all of that being found out, now again, banned for a year, $1.1 million of his purse, forfeited, $10K fine, on top of the fight turns into no contest. All of this is great. All this is phenomenal. This is what should happen. Absolutely. Even if it was accidental, you still did the wrong. Like with Canelo Alvarez and Cambuterol, when he got it in his, I believe it was steak, tacos, something like that, when he ate meat that wasn't deemed or that had banned substances in it, which was indeed accidental, it was still, you violated, it still has to be on your responsibility. Hence, you got a fine or got a ban. That's what happened. This is a similar situation. Now, with all of that being said, the New York State Athletic Commission has since put out a consent form or a consent order, of the reasoning for the ban. And in it, it states that Ryan Garcia essentially is banned not because of the drugs in his system, but rather for the egregious problem of not listing all of the drugs that you were taking when you were submitting, the supplements that you had when you were taking in camp. So essentially, you didn't disclose everything that you were taking in camp when we asked for it. Hence, that is the egregious fine, or that's the egregious problem that we are banning you for on top of everything else. So still, the punishment came down. It was just through a different avenue, which again, is still great. It covers the cheating thing. It covers the, you didn't list everything in and of itself. That's a problem as well. All that understandable, justifiable. This is good on the side of Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney in this whole saga. It should be that he got banned. It should be that he got punished. Even if it wasn't intentional, still, something should have happened. And even with this now showing that he didn't disclose all the drugs that he was taking during his training camp, again, that's another problem. Or rather, supplements, not drugs. All the supplements that he was taking during his training camp, which were deemed okay. You didn't list them all. Yes, that's a problem. Separate violation. This is why you're getting this fine. But it covers everything else as to the drug ban or the drugs in your system and everything. Cool. Great. Phenomenal. Different crime. Punishment still fit what initially happened. We love it. That still does not change the fact, however, even though Ryan Garcia is indeed guilty, even though Ryan Garcia did indeed take drugs, even if it was accidental, he was wrong. He got punished. Now it's on Devin Haney to then go rectify the wrong. And that's where the biggest problem is when it comes to Devin Haney in this whole saga. Devin Haney, ever since this entire drug essentially uncovering of Ryan Garcia, has been acting incredibly weak. Now, that's a strong word. It's incredibly potent and powerful. It's incredibly dangerous to call somebody weak. Any boxer sitting inside the ring is not weak. No, the Warriors, yes. But in terms of the Warrior code, now you are acting out of line when it comes to Devin Haney. Reason being, you called for punishment. You want something to happen to him. Something happened to him. A justifiable punishment based on everything that this whole drama saga had shown about Ryan Garcia and the drugs that were in his system. Everything. Accidental, legitimately contaminated capsules or bottle that had the supplements inside it. Nothing was his fault from what I could find, but still he should be punished. All of that happened. The fight got turned over into a no contest. Yet still you are complaining. Yet still you are acting like a punk. We're being completely honest. This is not, no. You need to now start taking steps to move up and move on and get it back in blood. You got to go, okay, keep on handling my business. And when this ban gets lifted, I'm rematching you and I'm going to show you exactly how good I am by making this completely shown as a fluke performance due to your drug-enhanced state, which you have been claiming as to why you lost. You continue to go down. You're going to sue him. You want him banned for life. You want to do all this stuff, going on ESPN, defaming his name, going on any public outlet, defaming everything. All this stuff. You are going out of your way to make this it is a big issue, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you're making it a bigger issue than it needs to be. No, I'm saying you and your actions in the public are showing us that, wait a minute, it's starting to look like Devin Haney wants the system to handle the consequences of what Ryan Garcia did without him having to handle it himself. And that's not what happens in the boxing room. No. If you fight, you want to get it back in blood. You want to show that this was a fluke and you put everything to rest. You do it. You put it to rest. You put it to bed. You get him out of there. You indeed go and show that this was wrong. You go and show that this was a problem. You go and show that this was a fluke by going and performing and putting the brother out. That's what you do if you're in this boxing realm. We've seen it with every other boxer. When they go to Muhammad Ali, after Sonny Liston went and fought him, even though Ali won the first time, something got put on Liston's gloves that made it so that Ali couldn't see for about 3 rounds. And still he won the fight. He went and immediately rematched the brother, who blatantly cheated inside of the fight and beat him, knocked him out. He then went, also, we've had situations, Antonio Margarito versus Miguel Cotto. They went, wraps in his gloves, was shaking him up every single time he touched him, which is something that was very rare when it comes to Miguel Cotto, as tough as that brother was in his prime, at that stage in his career. All of a sudden, he's still doing what Miguel Cotto does, but you're then going in, and every time you touch him, you're rocking him. Very much, something was suspect. Not saying that Antonio Margarito couldn't pop, but to that degree, what we were seeing from a jab, this brother's already swelling and bleeding. One jab, a weak jab at that. Now you go, and what happens the second time around, after he gets found out that he was indeed cheating, he goes and beats him. He goes and rematches. He gets his time, recovers, comes back, and beats him. Gets his revenge. That's what Cotto did. We've seen this with other boxers. This is a time when you got to show that this is indeed a fluke by getting it back in blood. When Deontay Wilder was complaining about Tyson Fury in that loss after that domination, saying that he had stuff in his gloves, he had egg something in his gloves, water was contaminated, all this stuff. Cheating left, right, the conspiracies everywhere was what Deontay Wilder was claiming. Yet still, he consistently held adamant. I want my fight back in blood. I want my rematch. I want to do this and get him out of here. Show y'all that this is a fluke. Show y'all this is a cheat. Show y'all he's a cheat. He's not a better man than me. That's what we've seen in the boxing world. And Devin Haney is not showing it. He's consistently wanting everybody else to handle the consequences by administrating the punishment without himself putting punishment of his own in the fray. Without him doing what needs to be done, which is going and taking him out. Going and fighting Ryan Garcia again. Having the system and everybody else handle the responsibility of you getting your revenge. Yes, he was wrong. Yes, it got deemed no contest. Yes, he was punished, but still, now, in this boxing game, you have legalized weapons at the end of your arms, your hands, with the ability to go and exact revenge however you see fit inside the ring, per the parameters of the rules of boxing. You don't take advantage of that when you are supposed to be the better boxer, the more accomplished boxer, the man that in the fight. Before that fight, I was picking, a lot of people were picking to win as the favorite. This is a situation where Ryan Garcia versus Devin Haney is something that needs to happen. But Devin Haney continues to portray that he doesn't want it to happen. Yes, Devin Haney recently said that he wants it back in blood. Devin Haney recently said that he wants his rematch back. But the words that he says contradict what he's been saying. Now he says he wants it back in blood, but again he says he wants him banned. Now he said he wants the rematch, but again he said he wants him out of boxing. Now, everything that, even the bravado that he's been saying this stuff at, doesn't seem like he really wants it. Doesn't seem like he really wants to get the get back. Because he's a big star. He said it's affecting him financially. It's affecting him mentally. It's affecting his ability to be a star boxer. If we're being completely honest, before this fight with Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney was a big star, but was not making a whole bunch of money in the first place. Due to him being a draw that people didn't care about. Due to his fighting style. Wasn't exciting. Pillow-fisted was his claim. Somebody who can't keep me watching. Somebody that will put people to sleep. Somebody that can't punch. Somebody that sticks and runs or taps and runs. Again, he's not a runner. He's a great boxer. Point still stands. When it came to Devin Haney, already we were looking at the fight with Ryan Garcia as the biggest opportunity to put his name and money on the same level. His star caliber talent and his star power as a whole in the boxing realm. Put that on display and show it as, yeah, I'm real, I'm legit, and I am worth being paid more. The biggest payday of your life up until that point, and having the ability to then be not just a dominant A-side fighter, but a sellable fighter, a marketable fighter. This was your chance to overcome and to essentially skyrocket into the ethos of the heads of the boxing world. That's what you could have done if you're Devin Haney. And you didn't do it. But now that it's an opportunity to say, hey, that was a fluke, let me get it back. Even with the recent claim, stuff still doesn't feel like you really want to get back. I'm glad that you said it. I'm going to hold you to it. The second that Ryan Garcia comes back, you better be the first person to say, let me get at him. Let me go fight him. Let me at him. Let me go take him out. Let me go put him back into a ban. Let me put him into retirement. That's what I better hear you say when Ryan Garcia comes back from his ban next year. You better do it. You better hold this exact same stigma or this exact same consistent wanting of revenge that you now stated on your Ariel Helwani. If you don't do it, that's a problem. And it shows that you really never wanted to get in the ring. It shows that you really don't want to go in with that work. Because if that's the case, you don't want to fight him again. Due to him now being a cheat that you can't trust. Well, now you're nixing what everybody else has done whenever they faced somebody who was a cheat that people couldn't trust. They still went and got their get back. Showed that it was not real what you saw that night. If you want to indeed put the stigma of what we saw as a performance of domination by Ryan Garcia behind us, you've got to go and beat him the next time you see him. Beat him the next time y'all fight. Make it so that y'all fight another time. You can't don't be lulled with just trying to, just all let everybody else handle what you also need to handle yourself. Because now the punishment from the system, punishment's been done. Justified. Absolutely correct. Now when that punishment ends, it's on you to put your brand of punishment on him for cheating. That's what you got to do. You have to do it. And on top of that, with the mental distress and all the stuff that you've been claiming that this fight has done to you and your career, if we then see that now you are inactive still, harping on the fact that Ryan Garcia just hasn't put you out of a good state of mind, right now you just I'm still not in it. That's another problem in and of itself. That's another problem in and of itself if that is what we see. Because now you're saying that this loss that you now see as was a fluke. Maybe it wasn't that big of a fluke. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was the fact that that was indeed a real win. Maybe it was the fact that that was indeed a real domination. And you just don't want to get in the ring again. No, not specifically against Ryan Garcia, maybe against anybody else. Potentially. But specifically, again, we won't go into conspiracies about all this stuff. No, we don't do that. But specifically when we conceptualize the reasoning for all of this stuff that Devin Haney is doing after punishment was done. And even up until we got punishment done. This seems like a man who doesn't want to face this brother again. Not just because of the cheat, but because there might be something beyond just, oh, it was drugs in his system. In his mind. He might be thinking, yeah, I don't want to fight him again because forget drugs. This was a problem. He was a problem. I can't beat him. That may be what you're thinking. That might be what's going through your head. Because at this point, if you don't adamantly keep on saying that you still want Ryan Garcia and you become stagnant in your own boxing regime, or rather your own boxing path as you go throughout your career up until Ryan Garcia comes back. And we see a drastic shift to, wait a minute, hold on, where is this guy going? Why is he not fighting still? He's been recovered. His jaw's okay. His mentality should be fine now that we know, okay, hey, he got banned, he got punished. He's still got a career to make, and he's still young and still supposed to be one of the bigger stars in boxing, one of the best talents. Why isn't he proving it? If we see that happen, we have a problem We have a problem that needs to be rectified. It can't be that we're just going to sit here and say, well, he's still recovering. No. You got to show up and do what you got to do when the time comes. Even now, you still got to go and put on performances that put this loss behind us. You have to. You got to go and put performances that make this loss seem, or rather, now be deemed as something that is not, that was indeed a fluke. Because you're still the same Devin Haney. Keep on challenging the people that are big as you. Keep on going for titles. Hey, now there's a no contest and you still got your belt. Go and fight against Teofimo Lopez. Go ahead. Do it. Go and fight against a real contender. If you really want to put some action out there, go fight Sabril Matias or Poirot. Any of them. Give Matias another shot at the title or go fight Poirot, the guy that beat Matias. See if you can go beat him. Go and keep on accomplishing. Because if we see a change in your demeanor as your career goes, due to you still harping on this fight, speaks to a bigger issue internally. And it speaks to a more leaning, we can say, assumption that maybe you aren't just doing all this because, the drugs were really the factor. Maybe you really believe that this wasn't drugs that got you beat like that. And it was indeed Ryan Garcia that was just outright better than you, bigger than you, faster than you, stronger than you. And it's somebody you don't want to face again. And the adage of being a bigger boxer on the level of Devin Haney is something that he can't beat if you're able to be physical. All of that could still be true. My opinion is true. But still, you got to put that stuff to bed. Because if you don't, you are not living up to the code that you're supposed to be as a warrior. That's not how it's supposed to be done. You want it black and blood, keep that same mentality. You want to show everybody else that you're still you got to keep on fighting. You got to keep on dominating. You can't harp on this forever. Because, brother, you still got a legacy to make for yourself. And if you keep on this path of just Ryan Garcia, now, we're going to start looking at you and saying, hey, brother, why are you so harped on him if he got punished? He got his punishment. Why, unless outside of just, I want to beat him, why are you still harp on him being banned and all this stuff? When it was accidental, it was indeed in the system. He got fined. He got millions of dollars taken away. The fight got turned to a no contest. The reasoning for why he got banned was a completely different subject. That was another separate violation, but still, it fit what should have been done for the drug-related issue. Everything seems like it's supposed to be. But you're still harping on this? That's a problem. That's a problem. Maybe you just don't want this brother back. Because if he comes back and you got to fight him again, which the fans will be calling for when he does come back, and you don't want that smoke. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what's happening. Because if Ryan Garcia comes back and he, again, looks for the rematch with Devin Haney, and you then shrink and say no, understanding that would be a huge fight strictly because of this entire drama. People were saying they didn't want to see that fight rematched again due to how dominantly Ryan Garcia whooped you. However, now, with this whole drug saga, everybody wants to see that fight again to see if that was really true. And you then, with, again, money, financially, saying that it hurt you and all that stuff, that would be the biggest thing to put you back on top of your financial troubles that you're saying that you're having with your trajectory. Rectifying the wrongs of your ability to make money as a star. Everything that you're saying is a problem now would be rectified if you went and beat Ryan Garcia when y'all rematch. If you all rematch. When he comes back after his ban. You still don't take that opportunity and still are asking to be banned for life and all this other stuff without getting in the ring. That is a problem. You are not acting like somebody that should be seen as a killer and a dog in the warrior sense of the boxing realm. You want it back in blood, get it back in blood. If you don't, you better come up and say that. Because if not, trying to act big and tough when the chips really fall and you still shrink again. Oh, we're going to say, oh, wait a minute. It wasn't the drugs, was it? It wasn't the Austrian, was it? You just don't want to fight the brother. You just don't want to fight him at all. Because up until this point, he hadn't been any problem with drugs. No problem with drugs, Austrian or otherwise. Nothing. Maybe outside the ring. But inside, fight time was always clean. Always clean. Up until this fight. Now, you go and you had an opportunity to make it right in terms of Devin Haney, and you don't. That's your issue. It's a big issue. It's a major problem. Major problem indeed. But again, we still got more to cover on this show, like with Daniel Dubois versus Anthony Joshua, who are now fighting for the IBF title given by Alexander Usyk, who has relinquished his essentially undisputed status by relinquishing the IBF title. And again, the IBF title is a title that I'm not high on because they have rules for some for thee, not for me. And to be perfectly honest, it is a diminished level belt in my estimation due to what they have done to other undisputed champions, like with Terrence Crawford, like with Usyk, who again just got the title and now they're having a potential mandatory opportunity. Or we're demanding a mandatory opportunity between him and Philip Hergovich. Even though it was supposed to be slated, or should have been slated, that Undisputed was, again, all belts on the line in an immediate rematch with Tyson Fury. But still, it is still a major belt. I mean, I like it, but it's a major belt. Still, now that's on the line for Daniel Dubois and Anthony Joshua. And quickly with this fight, who will win? I have Anthony Joshua in this fight. And it's because one simple thing. We saw against Philip Hergovich what Dubois was able to do. Toughness is off the charts. We love it. The heart's there. The power is there. Stopped him, cut him, got the ref there, got the doctors to end the show. Great. Showed grit, improved from Jarrell Miller. Has shooken off the mentality of I'm a quitter like he was against, again, who was it? Joe Joyce. Even though, again, I understood why he didn't continue that fight due to his eye being nearly out of his socket on top of Usyk, which it looked like he could have continued, but he just didn't. This was that fight with Jarrell Miller and with Philip Hergovich was an opportunity to shake off everything that everybody was saying bad about him. Now he's officially done it. Now he officially earned his shot at AJ and earned his shot at a title, understandably. But he's still going to get knocked out. He's going to get beat. Because of all the strength and newfound grit and determination that he has at his disposal, we saw Philip Hergovich continually laying that right hand on Dubois every single round. Now, Dubois was able to eat them, power through them, without any form of negligence, or rather, without any form of worry, which is great. Hergovich is not AJ. AJ, if he lands that many consecutive right hands on you, you are going to sleep. You are going to sleep. You're absolutely going to sleep. Because Dubois' defense is great. His power is good. I'm not saying it's elite, but it's good. It is very good. But I'll tell you something right now. What we see with Anthony Joshua, I think we're beyond the stigma of I'm worried about power anymore. The new and improved, revamped, and ready, mean Anthony Joshua no longer cares about getting hit. He's still defensively sound, don't get me wrong. But the stigma of I'm worried about what's going to come at me, rather than I need to worry about what I can do to them, that's no longer gone. Or rather, that is gone, excuse me. We're seeing it where Anthony Joshua now is a stone cold killer. Saw him knock out Francis Ngannou, who gave Tyson Fury the fight of his life. Second hardest fight outside of Usyk versus Fury, which Fury lost. We saw him knock him out within a round. We saw him go and knock out Otto Walling. Saw him go and knock out Robert Lanius. Those consecutive fights, we saw more and more confidence build up. We saw more and more confidence getting instilled in Anthony Joshua. A call to being more deliberate, being not reckless, but being confident in everything that he threw. And having the ability to believe in every punch that he was going to throw. That is what we saw built up. The mentality of I'm better than you and you know it. No longer messing around. No longer going to be the same timid AJ. That's what this AJ is. And this Anthony Joshua is a cold-blooded killer. Going back to what we used to see way back when he was still smiling, he was still happy, but he was running the heavyweight division. 17-18-0 with a perfect KO percentage. Incredible power. IQ and footwork. Great balanced boxer all around. And could crack and knew he could crack. And fought like he could crack somebody. That's what AJ was. That's what he's turned back into. But instead of smiling now, he's a grimacing, mean, just deliberate killer. With the I have to prove something. That is a great AJ. And that AJ is going to walk through Daniel Dubois. I guarantee you. Lawler, you're going to keep pawning with the jab, land that 1-2 all night long. When Dubois gets on the inside, we're going to see that uppercut that we've seen him throw countless times. We're going to see again with Dubois, while he is offensively, he's more of an offensive fighter than anything. Great. Again, he's not bad. He's a good offensive fighter. We've seen him go again and beat Hergovich. He is a good offensive fighter. And his power can be indeed legitimate. But the length and strength that AJ has, he knows how to use. Because regardless of what you can say about when he was falling off in his career after the Andy Ruiz fight, even when he was winning consecutively, again, outside of Usyk, it was still, it was different. It wasn't good wins. Now, he's been able to fight. The benefit of that, though, however, was the fact that we now know that he can fight in both styles. He can be just a straight-up outboxer if he wants to. He can be a brawler if he wants to. He can be an inside fighter if he wants to. Or rather, if he needs to. Let's rephrase it. If he needs to. He can be somebody that can fight in a plethora of styles and have success in every single one of them. Because of that, we can see him again with this outright confidence. Use his rank, use his length, use his reach. Jab him, get Dubois to overcommit, make a mistake, counter him with the right hand down the middle. Or catch him with the hook around his guard when he steps forward. In terms of Joshua, when Joshua starts putting on the momentum, we can see him throw out that jab again like he loves to do, and then land a left hook or right hook, around the guard of Dubois. Potentially ending the show outright. Or even going with combinations and landing an uppercut. Or even doing what he did against Robert Elanius and Francis Ngannou. And just straight up load up with the right hand. Go for broke and just end it in one show. That's what we could see him do. Because if we saw Philip Hergovich and Joe Joyce be able to dominate with just their straight punches, you best believe that when it comes to AJ, he's going to try to get him out there within 5 rounds. I dare say 3, due to the power and just outright better technical ability and the more imposing nature that he has at his disposal. He will be able to, again, strength for strength, Dubois strong, incredibly strong. It's not going to be easy to muscle him around. But AJ is an Adonis. He's got strength legitimately. That brother is strong. That's Colossus level strength. He has the ability to go. And if we see Dubois, because of his lack of footwork, try to muscle AJ around, it's going to backfire. It's definitely going to backfire. We will see AJ then go to close the show and knock him out. Again, with the right hand, either the left or right hook or an uppercut on the inside. And get him out of there. Because of Dubois' lack of defense and lack of real footwork to be able to get out the way. Relying more so when he's continually getting caught on just heart and ability to tank a punch. Like we saw at Philip Hergovich. Worked his way on the inside with tenacity and grit. Wasn't necessarily getting out the way of punches. Kept mistiming his slips. Wasn't great at all. It was just the fact that when he landed, they just bounced off. It's not happening with AJ. No, it ain't. Chin's always a factor with AJ. He could get caught again. We could see everything that we've seen work back up. For AJ, we could see all that unravel in the matter of a second. Just a moment. Could be gone. Absolutely. I don't think it's going to happen. I think we're going to see AJ knock out Daniel Dubois and become the IBF title and fight either Usyk or Fury. Potentially. However that happens, it's going to be a sight to behold. I can't wait to cover it all and talk about it with you when that does happen. But again, we still got more to cover. As with, lastly, on the boxing segment, we got 2 more fights coming up this weekend with Teofimo Lopez and Bam Rodriguez. Two people that are in contention for pound for pound top 10. Some people have Ben Rodriguez as pound for pound top 10. Some people have Teofimo Lopez as a pound for pound top 10 fighter. But either way, two very elite fighters going in on display. What are we going to see? Well, I have both of them, Bam Rodriguez and Teofimo Lopez being able to win. Rodriguez has the tougher fight going up against Estrada, who is 44-3. A very seasoned, very tough, very experienced and accomplished fighter at, I believe, super flyweight, just below bantamweight, which is where Inoue used to reign. And Estrada, at the young age of 24, 19-0, 12 KOs, this brother has been on a tear. Mind you, he just had his biggest win of his career when he upset and stopped Sonny Edwards over in Europe in an outright masterclass display against somebody who was supposed to be league's better boxer on paper. That's what everybody was saying. Sonny Edwards was, I believe, favored. And then Bam Rodriguez came in and just was able to box him and fight him and beat him on all accounts. Knocked him down. That was it. That last knockdown that he had, was it the 8th round, I think? It was over. Done. In fact, let me make sure I got it right. He stopped. Bam Rodriguez stopped Sonny Edwards in, it was the, he did stop him, didn't he? I'm not yet, 9th round, excuse me. 9th round, my bad, my apologies. Stopped him in the 9th round, my apologies. Stopped him in the 9th round with a knockdown. And this was a situation where, hey, this brother, he's legit. Oh, he is legit. And if he beats Estrada, Juan Francisco Estrada, who's again incredibly hard, incredibly seasoned, incredibly dangerous and tough. He beats Estrada, I got some stuff to look over now. I have some stuff to look over when it comes to pound for pound. Now we're talking about, hey, all right now. That's impressive. That would be impressive. That would be incredibly impressive. He goes and beats, let alone knocks out Estrada. Let alone dominates Estrada. My gosh. Now we're having a conversation about where we put him in pound for pound. For me, I would have to go back and re-look at my books, re-look at my own opinions. Because Bam is incredibly exciting. Can fight in a variety of styles. Is somebody who is relentless, is cutthroat in his ability to constantly come forward. He can box you. He both from the inside and from the outside. He can be an inside boxer. He can work on the inside with great. He can use angles. He's got great footwork. He's got a tough chin. He is somebody who, again, his knockout ratio isn't great. Cool. But he can still put you to sleep. And he's got the tenacity and the outright intangible skill set to really give anybody trouble and adapt to anybody. From what I can understand. Again, this will be my first full fight scene. I'm going to pay attention to this brother. Because I've been hearing about Bam a lot. Haven't got an opportunity to see him. I'm watching him versus Estrada. He goes and he beats Estrada and shows everything that I've been hearing about this brother. All the research that I could find without being able to catch a full-blown fight. This brother could be something serious. Because he's got the appeal. He's exciting. He's tough. He's gritty. He is so smart. He's so smart. From what I've been able to see him, incredibly smart and adaptable. Has the ability to, again, to go and change game plans within game plans. Doesn't get caught up in if something isn't working, I'm stuck. No. He can go and do different things. He can beat you at your own game, which is incredibly hard. That's incredibly hard. He can switch between your game plan and his game plan in terms of I'll fight the way you want to fight, then I'll fight the way I want to fight. And then I'll make adjustments to the way I want to fight to fully take you out. Systematically break you down to take away everything that you're able to do. He looks like something special. When versus Estrada, this is going to be the biggest moniker of, okay, this brother for real. Sonny Edwards, a phenomenal win. Absolutely. Estrada, Now we're talking business. Now we're talking business. Now we're talking excitement. Now we're talking, hey, potentially we can see this brother, if he keeps moving up, let's say he moves up, goes to bantamweight, and we see Inoue stay at 122 for a prolonged amount of time, we could potentially see Ben Rodriguez versus Inoue, which would be incredibly exciting. Incredibly exciting. Again, I think Inoue would win, absolutely. But as a fight, hey now, we're talking about some real competition. We're talking about, hey, that would be incredibly fun. Incredibly fun and engaging. My gosh, I would love to see that fight if it transpired. But again, Ben Rodriguez, if you haven't looked this brother up, look him up. He is a special fighter. And if he beats Jose Estrada, this could be, Juan Francisco Estrada, If he beats Juan Francisco Estrada in this next fight this weekend, we talking business now. Are we talking business? Are we talking a very interesting affair going on with the legacy of Ben Rodriguez? And we had to start looking at him a little bit differently, as I do, in terms of how good is he amongst the best in the world. I can't wait to talk about it. And again, another potential contender for top 10, Teofimo Lopez, who is also fighting next weekend against, who was it, Catterall? I believe it was Catterall. Not Jack Catterall, Steve Claggett. Steve Claggett. Again, 38-7-2. It should be a situation, while he is, again, tough and respectable opponent, should be a situation. He's won the last 5 fights that he's been in. Understandable. Steve is somebody who is like, okay, fine. Cool. We understand that he is a legitimate test to some degree. But it should be a whitewashing by Teofimo Lopez, in my estimation. Because at this stage in Teo's career, it's more of an expectation that we need to see Teo live up to. Reason why I say that is because Teofimo Lopez is somebody who at 26 years old is only 20, was he 20-1? Yeah, 20-1, 13 KOs. Ben Rodriguez at 24 is 19-0 with 13 KOs. Similar trajectories in terms of how their career looks. But from the age difference, Ben's been putting in some major work. And Teo, for lack of a better term, hasn't been as active as I would want him to be. Now, I guess I understand he fought, this will be his second fight, 2024, fought in 2023, however, only once. And because of that, it's like, hey, all right now, at this stage in your career, just like I said with Tank, just like I said with other fighters of today's generation, when it comes to activity, you've got to be more active, as well as have the names, as well as have the performances, as well as have the individual talent to put yourself in pound-for-pound contingency. And with Teo, he can't get there. I still think he's the best fighter at 140 right now, especially with the shakeup that we saw with Devin Haney and how dominated he got. Again, Sabrina Matias, again, lost. Poirot now is one of the top people in the super lightweight division. We are looking at a shift, but the one constant has been Teo. But Teo still got to continually show that he is indeed still dominant. And it's got to be a top 10 level performance. Outright, I need to see this brother be Gordo. I can't see Gordo come back and then leave from time to time. I need consistent levels of, this brother's the real deal. Because I know he's got the physical capabilities. I know he has the talent and outright intangible boxing just instincts. He's got it. He's athletic, he's strong, he's tough. He's got sweet feet. He's got fast hands, he's got a good chin. We know this. The problem is with Teofimo Lopez, there's always this lingering question, at least for me when I'm watching him, or rather when I'm not watching, of when he's going to come back and how serious is he about being amongst the best in the world. Because right now, people that are younger than him are doing more, accomplishing more, and with him being a young fighter, he should be a little further along in terms of the consistency of high-level, high competitive fighters. Again, everybody isn't going to be just a known name in the ethos of boxing fans, especially casuals. I get that. I'm not saying, okay, if you're not fighting a big name, you're not fighting at all. No, I'm not saying it at all. Not saying that at all. But I'm saying is, I've forgotten about T.O. to some degree. Not because of his talent, but because of his inactivity. That has to be something that changes. Because if it doesn't, the great performances are great performances, but still, if you continually, again, don't go after unifying the division, don't go after potentially moving up, don't go after going through and accomplishing what needs to be accomplished, stuff, we have to hold you to the same standard as everybody else. We have to. And I love Teofimo Lopez. I love him. Love that brother. Love the way he fights. Love his flair. Love his, again, he is a charismatic dude. And he's got the power and fighting style to boot. But it's a matter of still, regardless of all that, you've got to still produce as a top 10 level pound for pound contender. If you don't, just like with Tank, just like with Devin Haney, just like with every other boxer that is on the pound for pound list, you don't achieve what needs to be done, you won't get the recognition necessary. You just won't. And with T.O., he can be there. And if you already have him there, great. Cool. If he doesn't dominate in this fight, and if he doesn't perform as somebody who is one of the best talents in the world, we have a problem. We have a major problem. This is a statement fight to remind everybody how good he really is. He's got to go and put on a dramatic display. Get him out in the first round if you can. But still, he's a respectable competitor. May not be well known in the public eye, but still is somebody who is deemed as from his record. Hey, 38-7 and 2 draws. 26 KOs. That ain't bad. Boxer has the best boxer in Canada. 8th best super lightweight in the world. So this is a situation where if he does what he needs to do, this will be a pretty decent win. If he doesn't, though, we have to adjust what that means. That could mean this is a beatable opponent. With your skill set, you should be able to dominate. If you don't, we have some conversations about how good you really are. Because if you are consistently being inconsistent and to understand, see, and this is the last thing with Teofimo Lopez. It's the biggest thing. If you are consistently inconsistent with how you're able to perform on a night-to-night basis, that is a problem. Teofimo Lopez, he will have highs and he will have lows. He beat Loma, who is at that point in time the best boxer in the world. Then goes and loses to Kambosos. Then comes back and beats Jack Catterall. Then it's like we are looking at fighters, or we're looking at a fighter in Teofimo Lopez who has a bunch of up and down levels of how good he can be. Legitimately. Struggles again. We want to go down the list just outright. Beat Vasily Lomachenko, lost to Kambosos, then goes on and beats Sandor Martin, but questioning whether or not he still got it. In my opinion, he lost that fight to Sandor Martin, then goes and beats and stops Jack Catterall. So it's up and down levels of how good are you. You're great and then you're not. You're phenomenal and then you're beatable. You're untouchable and then you're getting touched up. This isn't somebody, that's not the mark of somebody who is a top 10 pound contender. As we have you. Because if you're consistently being inconsistent in your production, that something doesn't smell right about it. That's a problem. And we have to call you out on it as it's due. When it comes to you and your ability and your rankings in the world rankings of pound for pound glory. But again, we will talk about that as that fight commences and comes about next week, definitely. But with all that being said, we still got more to cover in the world of the NBA as we switch gears out of boxing, as we have a frenzied world of news and just outright stuff. I mean, just incredible stuff. Because with the NBA offseason and the draft ensuing, well, this has been, again, the draft hasn't been that much exciting. But the offseason itself has been incredible. Specifically with one team, and that one team being the Knicks. That is right. The Knicks are back and look better than ever before as they now not only successfully re-signed OG Anunoby, but now officially have Malik Bridges to complete the Villanova Knicks of the NBA. That's right, it's a reunion of Jalen Brunson, Dante DiVincenzo, Malik Bridges, and Josh Hart, that championship-winning Villanova squad, they are back again to potentially run the table on a bigger stage, which is not just accomplishing the college landscape champion or the ruling over the college landscape as NCAA champions, but now potentially ranking as NBA champions. They look to repeat history as the gang is back together again on a bigger stage. This move by the Knicks is something incredible, specifically because it not just feels a void. No, it actually wasn't really a major void per se, but it feels a means of cohesion. This is what, like with Boston, like with other teams that have been highly chemistry driven, that are always successful, the Nuggets. We can see this squad, which already looks incredibly well cemented together. Now with Malik Bridges, we're looking at one of the best cohesive teams in basketball. Absolutely. We're looking at a team in New York Knicks who they have a chemistry level now that is off the charts. They will know what everybody's going to do before anybody does anything. The ability to read and feel comfortable and have a trust in your confidants is incredibly invaluable in the NBA. And it's something that, well, ironically enough, a lot of teams don't have. A lot of teams don't trust their own players. A lot of players don't trust their own teammates. Now when it comes to, again, the New York Knicks and what they have built up for themselves. Now with Malik Bridges, who is an incredible 3-and-D guy, a great three-point shooter, great outright scorer, who's been a leader on the Brooklyn Nets, who has been able to take the reins as the man in the organization and show that he can compose himself, who is now on a roster filled with length, defense, actual shooting, and an offense that has an identity with a dominant leader as one of the best point guards in the league. Now you you will be the second best scoring option on this team. This is going to be incredible. This makes a backcourt of again, Jalen Brunson and Malik Bridges, potentially, a backcourt of Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, Malik Bridges. And if you really want to, you could run DiVincenzo, Josh Hart, Jalen Brunson, and Malik Bridges all on a roster if you want to go small ball. You really can. And then just add Hartenstein not Hartenstein. Then add Mitchell Robinson as a down low rim protector and outright lob threat. You have a roster that can be so destructive in so many different ways. You can play anybody together with Malik Bridges and they'll be able to be just fine. You can have him starting, have DiVincenzo come off the bench. You can put him at the 2 if you want to and have Josh Hart come off the bench, or have Josh Hart keep on starting, have DiVincenzo start, and then have Malik Bridges come off the bench and just play major minutes. Either way, you know the rotations will be figured out, but there is a multitude of ways that this team can be diabolically dominant for the Eastern Conference. They already were one of the best teams in the East and were one of the best teams in the NBA. Now that you add this level of legitimate talent and stardom, this is a real threat for anybody. The biggest issue they're going to have in terms of the New York Knicks is Malik Bridges versus Tom Thibodeau. The Iron Man of the NBA versus the Iron Coach of the NBA. Malik Bridges has played over 500, has started 500 plus games without fail, consistently, never gets hurt, never gets injured. 82 game seasons is a walk in the park for him. In this day and age, when it comes to consistency and health in basketball, it's a rarity that you get somebody as consistent as Malik Bridges. Now you go up against somebody in Tom Thibodeau, 48 minutes a game. He will play you if you have the capacity to actively stay on the court for that long. So it's going to be a literal Iron Man challenge for this New York Knicks squad. But either way, outside of that, this team is going to be built for an incredible run in this season. This is going to be incredibly interesting for what the Knicks can achieve with their already great success, almost getting to the Eastern Conference Finals if they didn't lose that Game 7 to the Pacers, which again is more so because they were injured for the most part. Robinson went down. Well, then we saw Jalen Brunson go down. Then OG Anunoby went down. Well, not in that specific order, but the point is, a lot of their biggest contenders or their biggest competitors on the floor, they were out. They were hurt. They were gone. They weren't able to play. Since that's the case, now with a new, fresh season, everybody coming back and adding this incredibly valuable piece of Malik Bridges on this roster We're looking at a real situation with a chemistry-driven team that can score now from a multitude of ways, who can defend and now have added length and perimeter defense, like with, again, Malik Bridges and OG Anunoby and Josh Hart, who's an underrated defender and rebounder. In my estimation, we are looking at a now complete built squad. Maybe there can be some bench depth that can be added a little bit as the offseason goes on, but even still, we're looking at one of the most complete offenses and rather one of the most complete personnels that we've seen the Knicks have, maybe in the history of their tenure. I say that legitimately. Yes, we know John Starks, Patrick Ewing, and the Charles Oakley and the Knicks of the past. Yes, Walt Frazier and Willis Reed and all that stuff, when they played, understand. This is one of the more complete teams that we've seen from the Knicks in a long time. This looks like it's built for success. The biggest thing, the biggest thing that we need to look out for, which will, if this happens, my gosh, the whole league will be saying,
hey, we got some problems here.
Yes, they will.
We got some problems here.
They will all be saying that they'll have some problems. Is if by some miracle, we can see Julius Randle traded from the Knicks. If by some way, somehow, we see Julius Randle gone, we see him traded, we see him shipped out of here, that would be the best thing possible for New York. Because now, if we're being completely honest, you don't need him. The biggest reason why you got to as far as you did in this playoff tenure and why you got to the chemistry that you got to in this season was because Julius Randle couldn't play, was because he was hurt, was because he was out. I don't care. Again, he may be a fan favorite. As a person, phenomenal. Phenomenal dad, has done a lot for the community. Great. I have no ill will but towards him. But his ability to play, I have a problem with. He will shoot you out of the game. He will take stupid shots. He will play like he is the best player on the team when he's not. And it'll show. And he'll keep on trying. He will shoot you out of a game. As much as he can potentially give you 30 on his best night. He will, more often than not, be a detriment more than an additive for your team in terms of how he works on this roster. And with the Knicks, how they're constructed right now, they had everything they needed to be a great squad. And they were, without Julius Randle. You add him back, that could potentially mess up everything. That could be terrible, horrible, utterly disgusting. I do not want Julius Randle on this Knicks roster. I don't want him here. If we want to watch the Knicks thrive, he's got to go. He's got to be gone. Vamonos. He got to be out of here. Kick him to the curb. Because you are too close to a potential finals opportunity to keep him on your roster. If you can go and trade for him, trade for this brother. Do it. Do it by any means necessary. Look to trade for this man. If you can, please get him off of your roster and get some other pieces. I don't know how it would work. Again, other people understand the more financial side of the league better than me. But in terms of what the team needs right now, they don't need Julius Randle. Hopefully they don't want Julius Randle. Because Julius Randle, at this point, if he comes back, in my estimation, will hinder them from reaching what they can ultimately be. If he is, I don't think he'll be an additive for the squad with how they were able to be so close to a title. Closer than we've ever seen them. Higher hopes than we've ever seen from this Nets organization in many, 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 many years. Many, many years. We haven't had this much optimism for New York Knicks. Now, we got it. We got something. We got something special. But we need to understand this special something can turn into nothing real quick if we see Julius Randle still on this team. If he goes, we got some conversations now. We got some excitement now. We got some we can talk about some stuff now when it comes to New York Knicks. We got flurries of intrigue and anticipation for next season. Absolutely. Oh, yes, in the orange and blue skies, as Stephen A. Smith always says. Oh, yes, it's high. The clouds are high in the sky. And it's a beautiful day if you're a New York Knicks fan. If we see Julius Randle out of here, and by we, I mean you all. I'm not a New York Knicks fan. But the league is better. But the Knicks are good. And if we want the Knicks to be great, dare I say, they got to go and they got to get Julius Randle out of there. Ship him somewhere. Anywhere. Get him gone and you have an opportunity to make and round out this roster to completely become the championship-built, ready team that you are on the cusp of. You're right on the brink. Right on the brink. Because let's be perfectly honest, if they don't get hurt in terms of Brunson and or OG Anunoby, they get to the Eastern Conference Finals. They give the Celtics more trouble than the Pacers ever could. They do. They really do. If they played against them, not the Indiana Pacers. They beat Indiana if everybody's healthy. That's what I feel. Next season, definitely, with this roster, dare I say they gentlemen sweep them if they play again. If everything still stays the same in terms of their individual production. And nobody gets hurt. Health for health, they're gone. Pacers are gone. That best offense in the league isn't going to be enough against somebody who can actively play defense, who is giving you the time of your life in the Eastern Conference semifinals. If you're the Indiana Pacers, you're not beating them if you play them again this year. You're that close to tasting the finals. You want to make that happen? Get Julius Randle out of there. Get that shot chucking, want to be superstar out of there. You got an opportunity to make some real noise. You definitely do. But if you don't, hey, run with the ship that you sailed in with. Go on. Run with that same crew. With Randle. Try to implement him if you can. And I guarantee you it won't work. I promise you it won't work. You get him gone. We got some interesting things going on in New York now. If we get Julius Randle gone. Excuse me. If they get Julius Randle gone. See, already the prospect of how good they can be is sucking me in. I'm already synthesizing with the franchise and their fan base. How dare I? All of a sudden flip-flop for my San Antonio Spurs and the greatness of Victor Wembanyama and the immortal nature of Greg Popovich. How dare I? But it's so tantalizing when you see what Tom Thibodeau and that Knicks organization, when they were so much in a situation where they were bad off, everybody hated them for good reason because they sucked, both in their play and in management. Now they turned it around for the better and look like a team that, oh my gosh, they can play for a title. This is a squad that is incredibly entertaining. Not just in talent, but in production as well. They are built to be something. You get Julius Randle out of there, they can be something incredible. You keep him there, you're playing with dice. And most likely you're going to roll snake eyes if it's Julius Randle. Because it's Julius Randle. No shade to him. Again, he can give you 20, but he's a liability. It's 20 points with you fighting for an 8th spot if you play Julius Randle this season. You trade him, though, now you playing for 5th or 3rd in the Eastern Conference, solidifying yourself in the playoffs, being one of the biggest teams and potentially one of the front runners for a finals appearance. All you got to do is get rid of him. All you got to do is trade him. Find somebody, anybody, that can get him off your hands to get more depth on your bench. Oh, you got something special. Oh, you definitely got something special when it comes to what the Knicks have to offer to the NBA and how dominant they can be. But again, beyond that, we still got more stuff in the NBA offseason frenzy, like with Paul George potentially going to the Warriors. Ooh-wee. Wants to sign a max deal. Warriors have said that they are willing, or reports have come out, Warriors are willing to give Paul George a max, was it 3 or 4 year contract that he's looking for? Now that would be incredibly interesting. Now some people like Stephen A. have said that Paul George wouldn't fit on the Warriors. Paul George wouldn't be a right fit for that team. He wouldn't be able to gel, wouldn't be cohesive, especially with the style of play that the Warriors have at their disposal. But that is a bold-faced lie. Again, I repeat, that is a bold-faced lie. A bold-faced lie. And to the NBA fans, Paul George on the Warriors would be incredible, would be phenomenal, especially with the depth, or rather the lack of real depth that the Warriors have at their starting rotation, with the utter despair that is the drop-off of Klay Thompson, and the continued downfall and craziness of Draymond Green, with Steph Curry being the only guiding light for this franchise. Absolutely, Paul George would be incredible for this team, especially since at this point, with potentially Clippers looking to say, look, we got to retool with something, because at this point in time, this experiment with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, it's just not working. Either Kawhi ain't healthy or Paul George can't produce for us in the playoffs. Either way, we have constantly, with how good of a team we've built on a consistent basis around these two, they have not been able to produce. So they're looking to get rid of him, and they're looking to let him go. And the Warriors say, hey, we can give you that money if you need it. If you want it, we got it. That would be a great fit. And the specific reason why it's being touted, again, championed by Stephen A. But other people also may say, Paul George wouldn't be a good fit. It's because, again, quoting Stephen A., he would not be great for that roster due to the catch and shoot nature of the Warriors. Him being a guy that needs the ball in his hand, him being the guy that puts the ball on the floor to where he can really work. Again, shimmy, shake somebody down, step back three, get to the hole, layup, or just dunk on somebody outright, use his size and physicality on ball. Being as with the Warriors and Steph Curry is going to be more of an off-ball nature, he wouldn't be able to play like that. But again, it's a bold-faced lie. Because if you look up the stats of the NBA, again, per Stat Defender on Twitter, and also you can just look it up on various other outlets that keep up with it, like Basketball Reference, or just like with the NBA itself. You can go to NBA.com if you want to. The best three-point catch and shoot shooters in the league are touted by, again, in no particular, I believe, in no particular order, Karl Anthony Towns, and as one of the top five. And then at the top of that list, the biggest man that gets the best catch and shoot opportunities and makes them at the highest clip of anybody in the NBA is, ironically enough, Paul George at 45%. Number two, Kevin Durant, 43%. Al Horford, current new NBA champion Al Horford, 42% catch and shoot three. Michael Porter Jr., Mr. Never Pass himself. Mr. I only have, if you're playing on Xbox, an X button. If you're playing on PlayStation, a square button. Michael Porter Jr., the man that only knows to shoot and nothing else. 42% from catch and shoot threes. Karl Anthony Towns rounds out that top five at 42%, 42.6. Michael Porter Jr., 42.9. Excuse me, 42.8 for Karl Anthony Towns, 42.9 for Michael Porter Jr. But at the top of that list is Paul George as the best catch and shoot player in the league right now. So to say that a 6'8", 6'9", 240 to potentially 250 pound, strong like an ox, handles like a guard, dominant scorer, and great perimeter defender would not be able to gel on a team that is, again, relies on catch and shoot and perimeter offense, when he himself is the best catch and shoot shooter in the NBA as of last season. This is a situation to say, one, Stephen A., what are you talking about? Come on now. This is your sport. Again, we don't get disrespectful, but brother, don't mislead the masses when you're trying to give some information. Don't do that. And when it comes to Paul George as a whole, secondly, that brother would be a great fit. Take over what Klay Thompson was as a player, on top of having the ability to bolster some level of actual offense outside of Steph Curry, especially with the lack of shooting from Klay Thompson and the the known vacant ability to score from Draymond Green. Left him since 2016. Never been able to put the ball in the bucket ever again. One of the worst scorers in the NBA, as of right now, is Draymond Green. I say that wholeheartedly. But still, with Paul George on that roster, we're looking at now, oh my gosh, We got two people that can put the ball on the floor. We got two people that can not just shoot threes consistently, both in our own offensive style, which is catch and shoot, but also if we need a bucket in isolation, now we got somebody that can take some heat off of Steph Curry. We got somebody that can take some heat off of a 37-year-old Steph Curry. Take some pressure off of somebody who will get doubled because we have nobody else that can put the ball in the hoop on a consistent basis without getting a shot made for them. Somebody that without playmaking can give you 25. Somebody who is a mismatch on a roster that really we don't have any real mismatches on this team that we can take advantage of. Outside of switching Steph on a big man. That's it. Now you mean to tell me that we get Paul George, who is one of the better offensive weapons in the NBA today? He's on our team at one point in time, a third in MVP voting level player. At one point in time, 29 points a game. Post-injury, that seemed like it was going to end his career. A seasoned veteran who's been in the playoffs. Yes, that can be a concern whether he produces and performs when the playoffs come around, but he was still. Beyond that, we just need somebody that ain't going 0 for 10 from 3 in an elimination game like Klay Thompson. We ain't forgot about that, have we? No, we haven't forgotten about that. Haven't forgotten about that at all. That's the reason why right now, even though Steve Kerr wants Klay Thompson back, may not be a priority in the bigger scheme of the organization of the Golden State Warriors. But again, that's a topic for another day. The biggest thing when it comes to Paul George on this team, if Paul George went to the Warriors, again, being the best catch and shoot player in the league as of last season, being one of the best offensive players that the Warriors would have at their disposal, arguably the best offensive player, arguably the best ISO offensive player since Steph Curry that the Warriors have had on their roster. Indeed, legitimate in terms of the era of being a dynasty or being dominant. It's been Steph as the best ISO player in the league. And again, the Heat got taken off because Klay Thompson was the best catch and shoot player in the league, arguably. He was the best catch and shooter in the league at that point in time. And then Draymond Green was able to give you a solid 17 along with great defense and passing. Now, all of that's gone except for Steph and his ISO ability and just outright greatness to score and be one of the best playmakers on the team. Now you add Paul George to that, you have a little more movement, a little more freedom, a little more space to have to say, hey, defense, you got something else to worry about outside of just Steph Curry. This is what the Warriors need. If they can make it happen, trust and believe they'll make it happen. If that does happen, I'm not saying it's going to be the answer to their prayers. No. I'm saying it's a start. It's a start to build something better and better. And if that does happen, guarantee you, we're going to start seeing some legacy pieces get moved. Whether that be Draymond Green or Klay Thompson. Somebody's gone. Because if they make that trade for George, they make the trade for PG, guarantee you, they're looking to bring some new blood into that roster. To look to win now. Take advantage of Steph's last great years in his prime, though he is 36, 37, somewhere around that, 35, 36, 37, somewhere around that age. Take advantage of his last opportunity to be something when it comes to having him be the leader, a dominant leader. You got to take advantage of it as quickly as you can. That means going and looking to build around this new regime and this new potential duo. That's what they're going to have to do. So look for Klay Thompson and Draymond Green now to be on the hot seat more than ever. If we see that signing go through, if we see it happen, guarantee you Klay and Dre, one of them's gone. One of them's going to be gone. Because they're going to be looking to win right now. Right now. Because they ain't got no time to waste. No time to waste at all. And again, with that being said, we still got, I believe, one or two more things on this show. Like with, I completely forgot. Lakers signed J.J. Redick. My gosh. Well, rather, hold on. Or, depending on which side of the fence you are, either you're clapping or you're in utter despair. I don't know which side of the fence you fall on, but for me, The biggest thing for me, Darvin Ham is gone. Thank gosh, thank goodness. Thank the Lord. I've already said it before, but I'm happy to say it again. Darvin Ham is no longer the coach of the Lakers. I never have to see that bald brother put an NBA play together because he's never done it in the first place. It's horrible. Hands in his pockets is just that is a sign of absolute despair when it comes to the NBA world. I couldn't stand it. Brother didn't know anything. Brother couldn't do anything. Brother was a waste of space as a coach. This isn't even me as a Lakers fan. This is just me watching the Lakers as a whole. I understand good coaching. I understand when a scheme is put in place. I understand the body language of players. Everybody hated Darvin Ham. I hate Darvin as a coach. I hate Darvin Ham. Not as a person. No qualms with him as a person. I don't hate anybody as a person. But as a coach, oh my gosh. Despise that, brother. Despise that. I mean utter disdain. The utmost level of disrespect and that's what I said. I spit at the ability of Darvin Ham and his ability to be a coach, which is no ability whatsoever. Thank goodness he's gone. We never had to see that brother again in a head coaching position. Mind you, he's on the Bucks right now. I feel bad for y'all. This is, oh my, you thought he was bad with Doc Rivers. You paired Doc Rivers with Darvin Ham. Oh, brother, we could be seeing the best, worst team in NBA history. If we see, when we see these two pair up, we could see the best, worst team in NBA history. Giannis and Damian Lillard, Bobby Portis, Brook Lopez, Chris Middleton, a team that looks equipped to compete in any form or fashion on any level of a championship caliber season. Next thing you know, they're ninth in the East, fighting for a play-in spot. I guarantee it. Because that duo is outright destruction. Despair. The brothers of destruction. Two black brothers that destroy everything that they touch. That's what it is. That's what it is. The brothers of destruction. Because both of them, they're brothers. They're Negroes. They're black, absolutely. And we love them for that. But they will destroy everything that they touch when it comes to an organization that is built to actually be something. My gosh. Talk about absolute disdain. Oh, my goodness. It is who? It's just the anger abounds. But again, I digress. With all my ranting and raving of my disdain for Darvin Ham. And Doc Rivers aside, a duo is a match of a nightmare. My goodness. But even still, now that he's gone, thankfully, J.J. Redick is in the seat. Now, again, this is not something, let's not put this on LeBron. Oh, you set it up. Oh, it was a conspiracy the whole time to get J.J. Redick to be able to come on the Lakers by having a podcast with him. We're not doing that. LeBron specifically said that this was a team situation out of his control. He did not push. He did not pry. He did not want anything to do with the coaching hiring of the Lakers. Nothing to do with it at all. This is a situation where they made the decision. They trusted him with their own interview process. They went. Now, again, I still think it should have been Mark Jackson. Should have gotten an opportunity at minimum. Especially when the brother from UConn reneged on his, or not even reneged, just didn't take the offer that the Lakers were giving him to be a head coach in the NBA. Should have gone to Mark Jackson, who has been a seasoned coach, who again did what we saw the start of the Warriors and that dynasty of a scheme that they had put together. Don't know why you didn't take him, but still, you went with J.J. Redick. The organization went with J.J. Redick. This could be great. This could be good. Seems very smart. Seems incredibly understandable. Again, going out in the draft, getting, what's his name, commit. Is that how you spell his name? Getting and drafting commit for the Lakers in a situation where, hey, that brother is a great shooter, phenomenal marksman, can score at 3 levels, deceptively athletic. Hopefully he'll become a better defender, but beyond that, still, there is some legitimate room to grow, and he can be a real impact piece if we develop him right. Hey, from an early on stage in his tenure on the Lakers. This could be a real great pick. This is, ironically enough, everybody was saying he was a steal of the draft. And if that is the case, hey, JJ's highly anticipatory of him, already drawing up plays for him, as we saw on Twitter and other reports around the NBA. So there is some real contingency to say There's some competency now in the Lakers organization in terms of who is running the show. Because I've been adamant and continue to say, this team is a team that can get to a finals. This team has, at its best, we've seen what it can do when it comes to defensive intensity, when it comes to offensive output, and individual. You got players that can ISO. You got players that can play together. You have players, when put in the right respective role, they can be legitimate assets to what the makeup of this team is. They have an identity, which is defense and fast break opportunities. Playing downhill is the best way that we've seen the Lakers play. That's what got them a championship in 2020, and even today, that's what makes them one of the, in terms of a team that everybody keeps talking about. It's not just because they're the Lakers, even though that is a driving force as to why, because they're a big market team, but also they are indeed able to play with the best of anybody in the league on their best day. They can. They absolutely can. The Nuggets, they kept it close every game that they lost. Legitimately. Every time that they've been able to go against a high caliber team, when they play at their best, oh my gosh, they give them a run. They give them a show. They put in work. They can lock in. They've got clutch players. They can have great shooters. I'm not saying they're a great three-point shooting squad, but people like Austin Reeves, people like D'Lo when he's on, people like LeBron, who shot better than Steph Curry from three this season, or rather, I believe this last season. I believe we've seen that Rui Hachimura, another great player. Christian Wood, when he's used, another great player. We have assets that can be incredibly valuable, and we had assets in the past like Lonnie Walker. We had Malik Monk. We've consistently had the ability to be something. We haven't had somebody that can put it together. Frank Vogel was able to put it together. Great. Phenomenal. Now with J.J. Redick, this can be an opportunity. Though it's his first year, though there's a lot of skepticism, understandably so, on his ability to coach at the NBA level when he's never coached before outside of maybe a high school level, from what I can understand. Now, if he is indeed the basketball mind that we say that he is touted himself to be, that he's shown both on television and on shows with the greatest basketball mind of our generation, potentially of all time, in LeBron James, we're looking at an opportunity for some real level of success and legitimate optimization of the best way to utilize the assets on this team. And if they figure that out, then everything I've been saying about the squad is true. They can be a top team in the West. They can arguably be the best team in the West when everything is going and working, or rather when places are being put like they're supposed to be put. When real coaching is put on the squad, they can be a contender for a title. They can be a lead contender for a title. They can win a title outright. If the coaching is correct and players believe in the person that is leading them, they can be a team that can beat anybody in the NBA. But if you don't have the right coaching, but the player can only do but so much. Even somebody as great as LeBron. Now, in the past, LeBron, hey, he could have gotten to the finals by himself. With this squad, he would have gotten to the finals in the West by himself because of how great that he is. When he was at 20, from his prime up until now, that brother could have carried. Because we've seen him do it multiple times with worse rosters and worse coaching. But still, now at an older age, he can only do but so much. But with a coach who can put people in position to be successful, now you have an opportunity to make something magical down in Los Angeles. If you, as a coach, do your job, you have the pieces, you have the personnel, you even have targets that you're going after in the offseason, like with Jonas Valanciunas, like potentially, hey, with Paul George, Jeremy Grant as well. You got people there are some pieces out there that you can pick up potentially within budget. Hey, even better. But even as it currently stands right now, your job as the coach may not be even to just dominate and get a title right in your first season. No. But you have to show that you are competent to understand the strengths and weaknesses of the squad and play them accordingly. Because when you do that, we've seen this team outside of their strengths and weaknesses still be able to give anybody a run for their money. on their best night. With their best strengths and weaknesses, always optimize on a night-to-night basis. Now we're looking at a squad that can do, hey, this is some real damage, barring injury. If you can make that happen, JJ Redick, everybody will shut up about you being a first-year coach. Everybody will. Again, still should have been somebody like a Mark Jackson who should have gotten an opportunity. But even still, we're not hating on you. We want to see you succeed. We just want you to prove to us that you are indeed the mind that we think that you are. And if you are, everybody better look out. Everybody better look out. Because this could be a dangerous game for the rest of the NBA. Oh, yes, indeed. Oh, and before we go, quickly with the NBA draft, as we have Bronny James not being drafted in the first round. Again, it's not that was the most high-profile name of this draft outside people like Alex Sarr. It's just the well-known for the casual audience. This is a brother who most likely may not get drafted at all. Not because, oh, he's just a bum. No. But because he just may not be ready yet for the league. If he goes in and says forget college, unlike saying he can go back to college, I believe. But if he says forget college and goes back into the G League and develops, great. But it shouldn't be surprising to anybody that Bronny may not get drafted. Wasn't drafted in the first round. He's not a first rounder. And potentially won't get drafted in the second round. If that does happen, it's not hate. He's not a bump. He's not a scrub. And he shouldn't have the expectation that he's already a star, that he is his dad. He's just Bronny. Let him be him. If he gets drafted, great. If he doesn't, he can still grow. He can still go through the Ignite initiative and still get to the league. It shouldn't be that, oh yeah, he must have been terrible. He must be horrible. If nobody really wanted him, everybody's waiting on him because he's the biggest name. Yes, I get it. But it's still, when it comes to a level of talent, where are you at and what chance should we take on you getting this draft pick? Because yes, LeBron potentially may come our way. But what if he doesn't? What if he doesn't go with you? Then what? We wasted a pick and got to work on development of a player that we already didn't have highly touted. And it was only because you're on our boards due to LeBron saying he would come with you. Now with LeBron saying it recently that he's reneged on that old sentiment, and even if Bronny gets drafted to a team, he may not go with them. The upside of potentially taking Bronny now is greatly diminished. Else it's cut in half. It's now almost non-existent from a business standpoint, from an organizational standpoint. If we can get LeBron by drafting you, great. But if now that potential is no longer on the table, and it's only a slight, minute opportunity that we could get LeBron to come play for us and our rebuilding franchise, this is a very risky venture if we opt to go this route. So no, against other people that we've scouted, against the people that have played more experience, against other people that have achieved more, against other people that have had more opportunity and outright responsibility on the floor than you as Bronny James. We take them over you if, in fact, we're not getting your dad. Not because we don't like you, but because the proven product of who you are versus the proven product of what everybody else is vastly different. It's almost not comparable. Again, I think Bronny could still be a good role player in the league with time, with development. I think he could be something that could be an additive to a multitude of rosters due to his skill set. With the three-point shot, again, with what he showed in the combine in the format of itself, he can be a good 3-and-D guy. Already physical, stocky, has a maturity in his game and a calmness to him. This could be great for him as a role player in the league. Yes, he's undersized, but he's got the strength potentially from the jump that as it builds up in his career, he can be something very good for an organization that needs a guard that can be a great knockdown shooter and incredibly athletic, stocky, and a defender who can switch and still hold their own. That's what he could be in terms of Bronny James. It's not bad that he's not a star. So don't hold him to that same retrospect. Don't hold him to that same standard. Because he was never that standard in the first place. Never that standard in the first place. That is what people need to understand about Bronny. He's not a scrub, not a bum. He's not a star, and he ain't his dad. He's just Bronny. Let him be Bronny. And if he gets drafted, great, we're happy for him. And if he doesn't, he's not a scrub. He still is somebody that can grow. He just needs more time to grow. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. But with all that being said, this has been the latest edition of the Welch Report with me, Jean-Luc Welch. My gosh, this was a long episode, but I loved it. I'm happy to cover it with you all on the show today. Clap it up for listening. Clap it up for having your own fun. And hey, please, again, leave a comment on all your thoughts that we talked about today. Share the video with everybody that you know. Subscribe to the channel and share the show with everybody. And leave a like. Oh, please leave a like to get this video up and add for everybody else to be able to see. Help get the algorithms liking this show, as well as rate us 5 stars on every podcasting app around the globe. We're everywhere. And trust and believe, you don't want to miss what we got to offer as we continue to put out weekly episodes and of the shows of what we got to offer. So again, I've been Jean-Luc Welch. Y'all been wonderful. Peace and love. We are out here.